Page 4, Sandcastle Dreaming. At the top of the page, they talk a little bit about intervals. The intervals is the distance between any two notes. Now that's broad. I mean, because you can have it, we could say, what's the first note of a piece? What's the last note of the piece? What's that interval between those two notes? It's any two notes. Now, when the two notes are played at the same time, like here, let's look at Sandcastle Dreaming, and you have the B and the E. They're played at the same time. We call those blocked. They say blocked intervals, I say block chords. They're also called harmonic intervals because it has to deal with harmony, which is multiple notes at the same time. Or they could be broken, one after another, or whichever. That's a broken chord, broken interval, or a melodic interval, as in a melody is one note after another, melodic interval. And that's what you do. And you identify them by simply counting it. For instance, let's take this key of C majors, all white keys. Well, all I got to do is count them. If I have one note here and one note here, I want to know the interval, I just count it. And the note I'm on is 1. We don't start with 0, we start with 1. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is an interval of a sixth. So that's a second, a third, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, octave, 8, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. At the beginning here, on the right hand, you have this. That's an interval of a fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you'll learn to recognize the intervals, even in the music. You'll learn to recognize them over time. And they come in handy later on. You might, so what's the big deal? Well, they do come in handy, but maybe not right now. Just know what they are and know how to figure them out. And on the left hand, you have here and here. Well, that's a fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a fourth here. Sounds like jazz, don't it? That's intervals. Now at the bottom of page 5, they talk about tempo. That's an Italian word for time, or in music it means speed. How fast is it going? What is the tempo of a piece? You'll find the tempo markings usually right above the staves. At the beginning you see the moderato espressivo. That's supposed to be a tempo marking. Sometimes you'll find tempo markings within the piece because they'll change tempos. And then you gradually over time you learn what they are because they're usually in Italian. Sometimes they're French, and some is interesting. Some people actually put them in English too. Moderato is a moderate speed, somewhere in the middle. These are ranges on these speeds. There's no set speed that says this is moderato. And espressivo means expressively, because a lot of times in this tempo marking, instead of a tempo, they'll give you the atmosphere of the piece. Like espressivo, they may leave out the moderato and just say espressivo. And it's up to you. Well, if you play it expressively, how fast are you going to play? It's the feeling of the piece, because music is a feeling, it's emotion. Some pieces don't give you anything. It's entirely up to you. Good luck on those. But here, I'm going to talk about each of these hands one at a time, and then we'll go put the hands together. I'm going to start with the right hand. It says in 4/4 time, and you know a dotted quarter note, I hope, gets 3 counts. Otherwise, you need to go back to book 1. We'll try that again. And they're saying 2/5. Not sure why, but they are, so let's go with it. But for the next one, I recommend you do a 1/4. You're just changing here to here, because we got a 2/5 on the next measure. And again, a 1/4, then a 2/5, and then a 1/4, and then they wanted 2. Actually, you can do a 1/3 there if you want, because we have a 2/5, 1/4, 2/5. Hold the thumb down. 2, and then I recommend for the second line do a 1/3. There, They probably wanted 2-5 there too, but they didn't say so here. And then the left hand does the next one, and then they come down a 1-2, and then a 1-3. And then for the quarter notes, and that puts you in this position, but then for the third line, bring the thumb up so you're in C position. And then you just start the song here. If you don't want to put a thumb on that C sharp at the end of the third line, you can do a second, just reach down. That's okay. And then fourth finger. Then bring the thumb down, leave your hand where it is, just the thumb. And you do some more of that over on the other page. On page 5 in the second line, the last two measures, you're here, rest, and then bring the thumb down, and then hold the thumb down, it's tied to a quarter note, to a whole note, hold it down for the rest of the line, and add the E, and it's tied, hold it down, and add the G. So now you got all three of them down, so it's 1, rest, 2, like so. Third line down, 1, 4, you're here at the end of the second line, just lift up. It's the end of a phrase, it's actually the end of a section, it's just lift up and move. Now that whole note, the E, you got to hold that down for the whole measure, so you're going to keep it down when you play the B, like so, because this is a 1, 4, hold it 1 down, and then 1, 3, and then come down with a 1, 4 again, hold the C down, it's a whole note, and then come up, 1, 4, hold the E down, it's a whole note, and then 1, 3, and those quarter notes by themselves. That is, there's no other note in the right hand, it's just those. And then I recommend a 1, 4, a 2, 5, hold the thumb down and just come over, and then a 1, 3, here. Then the left hand is supporting it. Keep the left hand soft for the most part. You're here, and then here. They're saying 1, 5 on everything. I don't like it, but we'll go with that. Second line, second measure, B flat, and then here. Now, second line on the first two measures, the left hand has to come over and play a B. So it's here, here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't have a lot of time. And then next measure. You just gotta know where you are and know where you need to be and know which fingers are involved, and practice that move if you have to. See, third line, you're here, just stick with a 1, 5. They seem to like that. Although on the third measure, I think it's better if you do a 4, 1, because then that helps get you the next measure with the A. And the last line there on page 4, second measure is a 2, 1, and then back to 1, 5 or 5, 1. Generally, when I say finger numbers, I try and start with the bottom first and go up, but with the left hand I get confused, and sometimes I go the other way. I'm hoping you'll figure it out. Between what I'm saying and what I mean, you'll figure it out. Page 5. Here, 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 and then 3, 1, I guess. And then I would come up with a 4, 2, it's an A flat. And then a 3, 1. And then the last two measures, the whole note, that's tied to another whole note. You're going to hold it out for the rest of the line. And you're going to add the G to it. And that's tied to a whole note, so you're going to hold out it to the rest of the line as you add the right hand notes to it. You're building this chord up, is what it is. Then the next line, you're here. If you want to do 5, 1 on these, that's fine. Whatever. Last measure, look out, that's an A flat, E flat. 5, 1 or 5, 2 if you'd rather. It's up to you. Then you put the hands together, slowly. So we're here at the beginning. Then remember in the right hands, 4, 1, here, and then here, here, and then here, 1-3 there. And then 1-3. Lift the right hand up. That note's by itself. Again, that note's by itself, and then here. All quarter notes. And that G at the end of the second line is tied. You're going to hold it down and just add the C to it. Some more. Top of page 5, you get some more of this. Let's go to the second line. You're here. The right hand has a rest, so when you play the G in the left hand, you lift the right hand up. And then hold these down. Now you got 5 notes down at the same time. We're doing good. Then we lift up and move both hands. You got to know where you are and where you want to go, and you practice that. You don't have to be jerky about it. You got time. It's like taking a breath. And then you go on. Last line. Remember, in the right hand, you got to hold that bottom whole note down. Sounds wonderful, don't it? That last measure in page 5, that is an A flat, E flat, G, C. Oh, goody. You work that out real slowly, and I know it doesn't sound like much yet, because we're building this up, so it'll start sounding a little better as we continue to build it up. So don't be too judgmental yet. We're still working out notes and rhythms and all that junk and fingering. But once we get that part, now we can go ahead and we can add the dynamics. It's soft at the beginning. I tend to play the top note in the right hand a little louder. If you can't, don't worry about it, because it'll come over time. But keep in mind that the last 2 measures or so, you have that crescendo, decrescendo. So you're going to, starting with the 3rd measure here, a little louder, louder. Come down, back down. It doesn't tell you how loud to get. You feel it. You're starting out soft. Maybe you can only go up to a medium soft or a medium loud. Just, you play it different each time, so who knows. And then second line, you're soft again. And you're going to stay soft, and to the end of the line, you actually get softer. And then the actual song starts on the 3rd line. The MP, that applies to the melody. So the left hand, everything else has to stay softer. So whatever you decide medium soft is, that's the right hand, that's the melody. And you're going to stay that more or less. You can come up and down eventually as you learn the piece and you start feeling the music. You might change that a little bit. At the top of page 5, they're telling you medium soft again. You think, why are they telling me medium soft again? I'm already medium soft. Hang on to that thought, I'll come back to it. Right now, just know we're medium soft. For the melody, the left hand is soft. And then you do all that, and at the end of the 3rd line on the chord, you're soft there. Now you can't do much with the chord on the soft part except the G. It's the only thing you're playing, so make sure you play that soft. Then in the 3rd line, now we're medium loud. Now we're just coming up a little bit. There's not a lot of difference between medium soft and medium loud. It's just up a little bit. And that's the top note in the right hand. That's melody. If you can, bring it out. I'm just putting a little more weight on that note. It takes practice. And the last line, now we're going with the loud. That's the melody. Keep everything else softer than that. And see the DIM in the second measure there on the last line on page 5? That means diminuendo. That means get softer. It's the same thing as one of those arrows. So we're loud in the second measure. Now we're going to say. And then with the DS all fine, you see that? DS means go back to the sign. The sign is at the top of page 5. It's that little squiggly, fancy looking S thing. We go back to there. The Alfine is at the end of the second line. So all that means is we're going to go up and play the first 2 lines on page 5 again. And this is where the MP comes in, at the top of the page. Because you're at whatever you are at the bottom of the page, depends on how softer you got. However, doesn't matter. When you go back to the top, now you're medium soft again. Because if they didn't give you a medium soft there, then you'd stay, however loud you were from the end, you'd stay there when you went back. So that's the piece, sort of, but it's kind of choppy and it's not very dreaming. So we're going to add the pedal to help smooth it out. But we have to be careful with the pedal, because if we're not, the pedal will just take over. So they're suggesting overlapping legato pedal throughout. And if I play it that way, this is what it sounds like. I'm going to push the notes down first and then the pedal. And then each measure, I'm going to play the notes in the measure and then change the pedal. A little louder. Here I'm changing on every beat in the last measure. I'm holding the pedal down through all of this. This is the dreamy part. You have to be careful on different books and different publishers and different editors, because they're not consistent from one person to the next, or one book to the next. At the bottom of page 4, on the first 2 measures, they're showing pedal here, and they're showing the pedal coming up after the first beat of the next measure. Some books would use the same indication, expecting you to keep the pedal down for the whole measure on that second. Just know in this piece, in the second measure there at the bottom, lift the pedal up after you play the first beats in that measure. Keep the left hand down, it's a whole note. And then in the second line on page 5, again, it's the same thing in the second measure. Lift it up at the first beat. Right after you play the first beat, lift it up. But to keep the left hand down, and then in the next measure, you don't play the pedal until after you play the G in the left hand. We want to hear the rest in the right hand. So it's a little tricky there. The last 2 measures of the second line, it's here. Pedal is up. Now down, and then up. Then lift the pedal and the hands together before we go to the next line. It's a new phrase. You put the pedal down right after you play the notes, and then it's legato pedal from then out. Now the fermata at the end, at the bottom of page 5, you would normally just hold that out. It's a feel thing. When I do it with a metronome, I just double the value, and in this case I'm going to hold it out for 8 counts instead of 4, and then we go up to the top. I would like to play this with you very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do the dynamics, you do the dynamics later. I'm not going to sing it, not into that, you can sing it yourself. And we're going to go really, really slow. If you want, play it one hand at a time if you need to, is fine, but again, I'm not trying to perform it for you. I've already played a little bit of it, give you an idea, I think, of what it sounds like, but let's just play it together. So you make sure you got the right notes and rhythms going. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 4, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. 4, 2, 2, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3 to the top, 2, 2, 3, 4, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, off.